We're going to go ahead and go into our next story here about King Charles. And I have to remind myself to say King Charles because I'm so used to saying Prince Charles. I just am. So I'm just like, yeah. Oh boy, how do I even begin with this one? So it is customary for the king or queen in the UK to deliver an address on Christmas Day. King Charles issued an address on Christmas Day, and he also took this opportunity to talk about some of the economic issues that people are experiencing in the UK at this time. And let's get into the clip first. Let's get into the clip. I want you to hear the speech because I have some things to say about King Charles and the rest of the monarchy when it comes to the economic issues in the UK. And then we're going to get into a little bit more when we talk about wealth, not just in the UK, not just in the United States, but in the world. When we talk about all these people, or these few amount of people, but these families, we're going to focus on families, not individuals. These families that have so much concentrated wealth, and yet 99% of people do not have it, and they are left out. And we're going to talk about what people are actually dealing with in the UK, given the energy crisis and given inflation, and why I think King Charles is full of BS here. Let's get into this address.
I'm standing here in this exquisite chapel of St. George at Windsor Castle, so close to where my beloved mother, the late Queen, is laid to rest with my dear father. I am reminded of the deeply touching letters, cards, and messages which so many of you have sent my wife and myself, and I cannot thank you enough for the love and sympathy you have shown our whole family. Christmas is a particularly poignant time for all of us who have lost loved ones. We feel their absence at every familiar turn of the season and remember them in each cherished tradition. In the much-loved carol, O Little Town of Bethlehem, we sing of how in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. My mother's belief in the power of that light was an essential part of her faith in God, but also her faith in people, and it is one which I share with my whole heart. It is a belief in the extraordinary ability of each person to touch with goodness and compassion the lives of others, and to shine a light in the world around them.
To touch with goodness and compassion in the lives of others. Okay. How have the... Let me finish. I'm getting heated.
This is the essence of our community and the very foundation of our society. We see it in the selfless dedication of our armed forces and emergency services, who work tirelessly to keep us all safe, and who performed so magnificently as we mourn the passing of our late Queen. We see it in our health and social care professionals, our teachers, and indeed all those working in public service.
The teachers and the nurses have gone on strike in the UK, along with the railroad workers. We did talk about this about a week or two ago, and I think that's why he's specifically singling out those professions.
Whose skill and commitment are at the heart of our communities. And at this time of great anxiety and hardship, be it for those around the world facing conflict, famine, or natural disaster, or for those at home finding ways to pay their bills and keep their families fed and warm, we see it in the humanity of people throughout our nations and the Commonwealth who so readily respond to the plight of others. I particularly want to pay tribute to all those wonderfully kind people who so generously give food or donations, or that most precious commodity of all, their time.
Let's pause here for just a second. So he mentions how people are trying to find a way to pay their bills. And he wants to thank people who are helping those people who are going out there basically doing mutual aid, people who are doing volunteer work. Here's the problem. Right now, there are people in the UK that can't afford to pay for heat. We have entered winter. They can't afford to pay for the heat because of the energy crisis. We have the energy crisis because of the war between Russia and Ukraine and the cutoff of the Nord 2 stream pipeline. But you know who does have heat? King Charles. The entire monarchy. They have heat. They have food. They're not struggling to pay any bills. You know why? Because all their bills are paid for by the taxpayers in the UK. The same people who are working class, the same people who are struggling to pay for heat or can't pay for heat for themselves, their taxpayer money is going to the monarchy to make sure that they have heat, to make sure that their bills can be paid. This is the problem that I have with King Charles in this speech. And I get what he was trying to do. Let me not pretend like I don't realize that this crisis is happening. Totally get that. But here's my thing. For decades, your family has been able to live a very, very comfortable life. Your family, while living that comfortable life, have colonized countries across the world, have stolen resources from those countries. So even the countries where the UK came in and they said, you know what, it's years later, these countries want to be independent. Let's let them do that. Let's give them the opportunity to do that. It didn't matter at that point because you had already taken resources from those countries. You see what I mean? You got what you needed already. And so here we have King Charles complaining, or I guess he's trying to empathize with the people in the UK about the struggle that they are going through. But you live in a palace, King Charles. You live in Buckingham Palace. Your kids live in basically another palace. You guys have everything. And this is another reason why I say, what is the point of the monarchy at this point in time? Now, we talked about this on my call-in show. Someone called in and said, well, the reason why they keep them there is because of tourism. Because it brings people into London, tourists, and they want to see Buckingham Palace. Totally get that. Whatever. I'm pretty sure there are other things in London that you can go see. But at this point in time, with everything that has happened and what's going on with inflation and how people in the UK are suffering, why do you still need the monarchy? Why are the monarchy still living off of the taxes of the people who are struggling to pay their bills, of the people who cannot afford to have heat? You live in this giant palace, King Charles. Are you offering to open up your home to some of the people whose taxpayer money that you've been taking all these decades? Are you offering to help those people? And I don't mean set up a charity that you can do as a tax write-off later on. I don't mean do something like that you can take a photo op and say, look at me helping out these poor people. I mean the long-term strategy, which is the sense that you are profiting off of other people's suffering and pain because you're taking their money, their taxpayer money, and they can't help themselves. And it is wrong. I don't understand how this has gone on for this long. I don't get it. And if anyone is watching and you live in the UK, let me know how you feel about this. Let me know. We're going to go back in.
To support those around them in greatest need, together with the many charitable organizations which do such extraordinary work in the most difficult circumstances. Our churches, synagogues, mosques, temples, and gurdwaras have once again united in feeding.
Hold up. Let me answer this question. The Traveler says, is Biden going to open up the White House to house the illegals coming across the border? The people who live in the UK residents who are paying taxes are not illegals. This makes no sense. No sense. You get what I'm saying? The people who are UK residents, the taxpayers, they are the ones paying for King Charles' lifestyle, and not just his lifestyle, but his kids. All of them. These people don't work. They're not getting paid. They've been living off of taxpayer money all this time. And the taxpayers are struggling and they don't have heat, and King Charles is still living comfortably. That is the problem. So don't even try to make that comparison here.
Feeding the hungry, providing love and support throughout the year. Such heartfelt solidarity is the most inspiring expression of loving our neighbour as ourselves. The Prince and Princess of Wales recently visited Wales, shining a light on practical examples of this community spirit. Some years ago, I was able to fulfill a lifelong wish to visit Bethlehem and the Church of the Nativity. There I went down into the chapel of the manger and stood in silent reverence by the silver star that is inlaid on the floor and marks the place of our Lord Jesus Christ's birth. It meant more to me than I can possibly express to stand on that spot where, as the Bible tells us, the light that has come into the world was born. While Christmas is, of course, a Christian celebration, the power of light overcoming darkness is celebrated across the boundaries of faith and belief. So whatever faith you have, or whether you have none, it is in this life-giving light and with the true humility that lies in our service to others that I believe we can find hope for the future.
I believe the hope for the future is to not have a monarchy at all. I believe that should be the hope for the future, because they travel to these countries, you guys. Yeah, they travel, they visit sick children, they visit these impoverished communities, they take pictures, they talk to the people. That's all fine and dandy, but they are not helping those people. You see the problem? It's like, it's like photo op. This is something that they're supposed to do as part of their quote unquote service, as a part of their roles. Yeah, okay, you go see poor people. Big deal. Are you helping those poor people? Are you helping the people in the countries that your family stole from for decades? They're not even helping people in their own country. We're going to get to that in just a second. I'm going to show you what's happening with people in the UK, because they can't afford heat.
Let us therefore celebrate it together and cherish it always. With all my heart, I wish each of you a Christmas of peace, happiness, and everlasting light.
Let's pause there. Let's stop. I believe that was the end of yes. Let's come up out of here. All these years, you guys, all these years, I don't understand why it's still a thing. You know, when we talked about this a week or two ago, I don't blame people like Harry and Meghan for leaving. I don't blame them for leaving. Like, I wouldn't want to be a part of this life. How can you go into your palace every day after all those poor people that you see, after all those trips that you take? How can you leave those trips, go back into your palace, and let people wait on you hand and foot and continue to live off of other people. Guys, they don't work. You say you care about those people, the working class, the people who are poor, then stop living off of them. Stop living off of them. What do? They don't make any laws. They don't govern the country. That's what the prime minister is for. So I ask again, this day, this point in time, what is the purpose of the monarchy today? What's the point? Deneen said they are figureheads only. That's it. That's it. And they live like royalty. But how are people that are working class and poor living in the UK right now? What's happening to them? Listen to this. Did you know that it has now gotten to the point where they have to have warm banks to go to? Listen to this. Struggling to afford heating bills, Britons turn to warm banks to keep out of the cold. This is ridiculous, you guys. Every morning on her days off, Mary wraps up in a winter coat and heads to Woolwich Centre Library in Southeast London, where she spends 2 hours on the computer and keeps herself warm. This is just one example. The 52-year-old who works as a healthcare assistant in Britain's National Health Service is among those who are turning to warm banks. These are designated spaces where people can go if they cannot afford to turn on the heat at home. Designated spaces where people can go if they cannot afford to turn on the heat at home. But King Charles and Prince William and all the rest of the whole bunch, the royal clan, they're living comfortably. They don't have to leave Buckingham Palace and go to a warm bank. They're all set. No one should have to. When you have a family living in that country, so elite and so prestige, where they have everything, and the people that they are living off of are just making enough to get by, to the point where they have to leave their home and go to these warm banks to get heat. That is not a just system. That is a corrupt system. It's terrible, terrible. And you wonder why all these different industries are on strike in the UK. You wonder why. Let's go back in. The war in Ukraine has pushed natural gas prices up sharply, exacerbating a cost of living crisis in Britain. Again, a cost of living crisis in Britain, where inflation rates are among the highest in the developed world. But everybody else struggling. They can't even turn on the damn heat. Obamis, who lives in a council flat and earns up about to £1,500, which is $1,828 per month, is the main earner in her family, with her 2 children still in education and her husband working as a freelance journalist. Now, this is someone making $1,828 a month, and part of her taxes is going to keep people like King Charles and the rest of the monarchy comfortable. How is this right? It's not. The family has been operating an on-off system with their heating, turning it on in the mornings and then off for most of the day. The intermittently in the evenings when the children return from school and university. When they get cold, Obama said they wrap up in their coats and sit on the sofa with blankets. The fact that you have a family with so much concentrated wealth, and the wealth came from the people, and they're still allowed to take money from people living like this so that they can live well, that is disgusting. You see, when we talk about corruption, when we talk about the wealth inequality in this country, I want you to know it's not just this country. This should have been done away with a long time ago. A long time ago. Let's go on. Obama's family is in the 4% of Britons who reported being behind on their energy bills. Now, that's according to a December survey of more than 2,500 individuals by the Office of National Statistics. The family had to defer last month's payments and are fearful they will have to do the same again this month. Christmas struggles. It is really hard to see them like, but mommy, I'm cold. I'm cold. These are the kids. Speaking during a cold snap that led to a heavy snowfall and freezing temperatures. So it's okay for the monarchy to reside in a heated palace. But you have children here from a working class family sitting in the cold. Let's go on. She said she is now uses a whistling kettle instead of an electric one in order to keep costs down, and keeps hot water for coffee in a flask after boiling to avoid heating the water again. Even though warm banks are providing a refuge for those otherwise trapped in cold homes, library manager Amy Jackson says there is still a stigma attached to using them. And this is where the stigma comes in. I think a lot of people are kind of unfortunately embarrassed and a bit ashamed to admit that they're struggling sometimes. So promoting our clubs and our warm spaces as different things really kind of makes it more approachable for them. She added that it was such a shame that warm banks actually have to exist in this day and age. But you know, it wouldn't have to if you didn't have a family with that concentrated wealth and the other people without. Many Britons have also been struggling to afford basic necessities, with the prices of food and non-alcoholic beverages rising at the fastest rate since 1977 in the 12 months of October. Obama said her family had survived on just rice and pasta earlier this year after they ran out of money to buy food with her children. Her children were asking, Mommy, how can we be like this when we are in the UK? Because the family, the monarchy, continues to take money from people like you. This family living off of pasta and rice, that's not healthy, obviously. The royal family gets an entire spread of food, whether it's breakfast, whether it's lunch, whether it's dinner. This is different from the type of wealth that people like Bernie Sanders complained about. Because this isn't a family that owns a business or they were billionaires. They don't own Amazon. This is different. This is a family that is in the position that they are in because of the money that they take from working class people in the UK. I don't understand how people in the UK have not risen up before over this particular issue. And I know for some, they really love the monarchy. They love the royal family. But I want you to ask yourself this question if you're one of those people. What exactly are they doing for the people right now in this time of need? What exactly have they done throughout their course of being a monarchy that gives them the right to take taxpayer money to live the way that they live? And they're not just staying in Buckingham Palace. They're flying around the world. There used to be a yacht. Did you know that? The Queen had a yacht that was paid for by taxpayer money. Everybody else struggling to get by. Again, they don't make any laws. No point for them. No point for them. Her main concern now is whether the family will be able to afford Christmas presents, with her daughter's birthday also falling on Christmas Day. We will see. This week is not ended yet, so we will see. Because you see, there's two different types of elite when we talk about elite people. There's two different types. There are the families like the Waltons who made their money from Walmart, their Walmart business. And then you have those elites like the royal monarchy who were just there because of their bloodline. They were born into it. Doesn't mean they earned it. And they're still, during this time, when people in the UK are struggling to heat their own homes, they are still taking money from those people. This is a damn shame. But what about those other families? Because when we talk about concentrated wealth, you need to understand, we're not going to talk about individuals. We've talked about individuals a lot. You need to focus on these families. These are the world's richest families. Remember, this money will stay in the families unless something were to happen with their businesses. But at that point, they'll probably still be all set. Here's a list of the world's richest families. Listen to this. Let's pull down that list. Just going to go through the list here so you can see it. Number one, the Walton family. The company, of course, is Walmart. Look at their wealth. $224.5 billion. Location, Bentonville, Arkansas. Also, Arkansas, low cost of living state. $224.5 billion. Who needs this amount of money? Do you guys see the problem? Walmart is the world's largest retailer by revenue, $573 billion for more than 10,500 stores worldwide. The Walton family owns 47% of the retailer, a stake that's the foundation of the world's largest fortune. This is why I tell you guys, if you can do so, please support small businesses. If you can do so. Not everyone can. For some of you, you may live in towns where the only game in town is Walmart. And a lot of the smaller businesses have been closed because a Walmart came in. If you don't have a Walmart in your town and you hear that they're going to bring one, this is why it's good to go to those town hall meetings. You hear that they're thinking about bringing one, start a petition not to have it come. Towns here in Massachusetts have done that. That's why there aren't a lot of them here. Walton family. Let's go on. Mars. The Mars family. The company is Mars. $160 billion. Location, McLean, Virginia. This is also where a lot of federal people that have a lot of the federal positions in DC also live in this area as well. Frank Mars began selling molasses candies in 1902 at the age of 19. The business he went on to create is known for M&Ms, Milky Way, Snickers bars. I don't buy any of that shit either anymore. Though pet care products make up, did you know this? Pet care products make up about half of the company's almost $45 billion in revenue. A lot of people think they just own candy. The closely held business is owned by members of the Mars family. Did you know Mars is the world's biggest provider of pet care products and veterinarian services? Those of you who own pets, next time you go get food for your pet, keep that in mind. All this amount of concentrated wealth. Do you guys understand this money will not leave their family? One person passes away, the next person will inherit the rest, and they'll keep it in the family. The rest of you will be locked out. Let's go on. Number 3, the Koch family. Koch Industries, $128.8 billion. Location, Wichita, Kansas. Industrial. Now, there is actually a Koch building at MIT. If you're thinking what you think, yes, that's them too. They also gave money to MIT. Brothers Frederick, Charles, David, and William inherited Father Fred oil farm. A fraternal feud over control of the company in the early 1980s led Frederick and William to leave the family business while Charles and David stayed. It has since grown into Koch Industries, a conglomerate with annual revenue of about $125 billion. The family manages a portion of its wealth through Family Office 1888 Management. Did you know? Koch Industries unit, Matador Cattle Company, sold a 340,000 acre Montana ranch to Rupert Murdoch last year for $200 million. Guys, these people, they have their hands in so much, so much. Look at this. This is why I'm telling you, this is the most dangerous type of wealth. It's not just a Jeff Bezos. It's not. It's the families. Let's go on. 4, Al Saud Company, NA. They didn't put the company here. Wealth over $105 billion. Location is Saudi Arabia. Industry is industrial. The 90-year-old monarchy for which Saudi Arabia is named on credit the nation's unrivaled oil reserves for seeding its collective fortune. This net worth estimate is based on cumulative payouts royal family members are calculated to have and received over the past 50 years from the royal Diwan and the executive office of the king. The total wealth controlled by its estimated 15,000 extended members is likely much higher. Many royals have made money through brokering government contracts and land deals and by founding businesses that serve state companies such as Saudi Aramco. The Kingdom Sovereign Wealth Fund, PIF, has $620 billion in assets alone. Crown Prince Mohammed personally controls assets worth more than $1 billion. Again, guys, this is concentrated wealth in the family. Now you see why they're so powerful. Terrible, terrible. Did you know Prince Al-Walid, yes, Prince Al-Walid was an early backer of Elon Musk's bid to take guys, I can't make this shit up. Look at this. Prince Al-Walid was an early backer of Elon Musk's bid to take Twitter private. Guys, they're all connected. So much wealth in the hands of few. And number 5, Hermes. Hermes net worth $94.6 billion. The industry is luxury goods and the location is Paris. The 6th generation family owns the French luxury fashion company famous for its Birkin handbags, which can run into the hundreds and thousands of dollars. By the way, women, stop buying these expensive ass purses. Stop. You're just giving more money to them. Stop paying thousands and thousands. I understand sometimes you may want to have a cute purse. I totally get it. I totally get it. But even I have my limits. Some of these purses, I'm like, there's no way in hell I would pay $1,000 for a purse that's just going to go out of style next year. No way. This is ridiculous. Among the family members who maintain senior positions at the company are Pierre Alexis Dumas, the artistic director, and chief executive officer Axel Dumas. Did you know Hermes operating profit margin soared to a record 42% in the first half of the year? These are the families that own businesses. They didn't mention the families that may own banks. They didn't mention those. And there's only so much I can say about those on here, to be honest. All these people connected. All these wealthy people. You see how the Prince of Saudi was able to help out Elon Musk. Like I said, wealthy people have class solidarity. Working class people and poor people don't. So you have so much concentrated wealth in the hands of few. And yet you have an 82-year-old woman, 82-year-old woman about to be jailed because she fell behind on her bills. Listen to this.
You Martha Minifield?
I am.
Miss Minifield, we have a warrant for you.
For what?
Not paying your trash bill.
What? So you're gonna handcuff me and take me to jail?
Yes, ma'am. I got you. Put you in these right quick, okay? They're gonna be in the front.
Oh, wait.
I got you, okay?
You gotta be shaving yourself. Arresting an 83-year-old.
I am so sorry, but the law is the law, Miss Minifield.
That was 82-year-old Alabama woman Martha Minifield, who was handcuffed and arrested for not paying a $77 trash bill.
I'm not joking.
You guys see the problem? And they want you to be divided over red team, blue team. This is the big problem. You see that? So you can lock up poor people for not paying a trash bill. But you got all these billionaires out here doing white collar crimes and they don't go to jail at all. Or if they are arrested, they're released on bail. Hello, Sam Bankman. You see how this works? But the poor people have to be arrested.
So you're gonna handcuff me and take me to jail?
Yes, ma'am. I got you.
What did I miss?
I'm so serious. It's a warrant. Failure to pay solid waste, and here's all your information.
And what makes it worse is the police officer is actually laughing. I don't see what's funny about that. This woman is 82 years old.
That's how I knew where your address was when it come. You sure you got a phone call from the code enforcement about a month ago saying, hey, you need to come pay your trash bill.
The reason I'm not saying anything because my daughter takes care of that for me.
Yes.
You know, I'm just saying.
Okay, well, she has not been doing it. And you got to go with me today. Anything you need to grab right quick you can, and
I can't believe it.
we'll be going on down the way.
So what would I have to pay?
It'll be $285 to get out at the PD. If not, I have to take it to the county jail.
Oh, Lord. Would you just wait 1 minute?
Yeah.
Let me add in something here when she says that her daughter pays for it. This is actually not uncommon with people who are, senior citizens. I've seen this before when I worked at National, the healthcare facility. It wasn't uncommon for a lot of these seniors. Once they get to be a certain age, it's not uncommon for their children to actually handle their finances for them. Doesn't mean they always do the right thing, but still, I think what we need to be paying attention to here is, why are you trying to lock up someone for not paying a trash bill? This is what police officers are doing with their time.
Put you in these right quick, okay? They're going to be in the front.
Oh, wait.
I got you, okay?
You gotta be shaving yourself. Arresting an 83-year-old.
I am so sorry, but the law is the law, Miss Minifield. All right, Miss Minifield, we got to get ready to go, okay?
Okay, what's the key? They arrested me for not paying my trash bill. And Frank always pay my trash bill. Tell your mom, you get somebody to come and get me now.
Okay.
Now, my question is this. How is arresting her going to help her pay for the trash bill? Obviously, this is someone who's retired, living on a fixed income. Like, how does this actually solve the problem? This is where our taxpayer money is being used to arrest an 82-year-old woman who didn't pay a trash bill? Shouldn't they be going after murderers? Shouldn't they be going after people who are doing school shootings? No, they got to arrest poor people.
And y'all come on a Sunday.
Yes, man.
Arrest somebody.
We do them all the time. We do them all the time. They just happen
You
to get
heard
around
that?
you on this day right here. We took 2 more in yesterday. They were saying the same.
Did you hear that? He said we do it all the time. We took 2 more in yesterday. This is common practice for them.
Same thing. Y'all came on a Saturday. Yeah, we're gonna come around right here. Don't follow.
Oh, that's right. Oh, nobody do it. Oh, not-
Okay, my bad. I just want you to follow the water
I
puddle.
don't care.
Okay.
I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, this woman is 82 years old. I'm trying to imagine all the things that she could have probably seen in this country in her lifetime. Here's someone that was probably, may have been involved in the civil rights movement, but definitely lived through part of the civil rights movement. And here is someone, all the things she might have went through in this country. Obviously, she's struggling financially, and now she's being arrested for not paying a trash bill.
No, it's good.
We do it all the time. We do it all the time. We do it all the time. When did this happen? This was posted 6 days ago. There's also articles about this as well. This woman was arrested November 27th. And guess where it happened, folks? In Alabama. We read off those ballot measures for Alabama. I told you most of them seemed like they were going towards the prison industrial complex. Here you go. The point is this, and this is all connected to Prince Charles and his corny ass statement as well. Wealth rules the country. It rules the world. And oftentimes people who are wealthy are not punished. If they were, why the hell is Prince Andrew still walking around? Maybe someone need to ask King Charles that question. Instead of focusing on your hatred or your disgust for Prince Harry, maybe you should look at your other son and ask, why the hell is he walking around freely? Oh, but we don't want to talk about that, though. No, we can't talk about that. Let me go to some of these comments here. Keith says the monarchy is a major tourist attraction with all its pomp and ceremony and castles. The people still seem to love a spectacle both home and abroad. Cheers from Canada. Cheers, Keith. Rick says all born on third base. Shout out to Georgia, who just became a Sabby member. Welcome, Georgia, and whoop, whoop. Angela says in failed states, poverty is a crime. Thank you for the super chat, Harry the Hun. Goddamn shame. Exactly. Kilyuri Gorgi says a nation will be judged based on how it treats its elders. I think the Bible or something somewhere said that. Here you go. So that's what the police in Alabama are doing with their time. Pay attention to the wealth concentration, you guys. Pay attention to the wealth.